Obsession. Obsession.
Hello, I'm Christian Louboutin on France 24, and I'm sitting here in the middle of my exhibition called L'Exhibitionniste in Paris at the Palais de la Porte Dorée. Hi.
Do you like that? Huh? I knew you would. Do you like that? Huh? I knew you would.
Christian Louboutin, hello.
Hello.
Tell us about where we're sitting, this room, and the shoes behind us.
It's because of that shoe that I've been designing the red soles. So that shoe has a very important story for me. It's called the Palais, and this shoe, I drew that shoe in '92, then it came out in '93, and the first shoe was exactly that one. The difference is that I was not really completely happy with the design. I had in mind a portrait of Andy Warhol called Flowers. So I had this shoe in my hand and I had the drawing, and when I was looking one from the other, I still favored the drawing, and I just couldn't really explain me why. It looked good from the profile, from the front it looked good too, but when I turned it from the back, there was this big black sole which was almost like a stain because there was no dark colors in my drawing. So I looked at it and I thought I would like to see if I removed that black shadow. So Anna, who was there, was actually polishing her nails, the girl who was trying on the shoe. So I grabbed the nail polish and I said, sorry, I just want to try something. And then I painted, with her nail polish, I painted the sole. And then it looked exactly like my drawing, so I thought it's just a matter of color. I kept the red as a signature after that.
Tell us about red. What does it symbolize to you?
Well, red is an interesting color because most colors have different meanings in different cultures, in different countries, and but red, for some reason, never has a negative meaning. You know, the most negative meaning you could see is that red is the color of blood. So from blood, you can maybe go to war or to violence, but blood is passion too, and blood is life. So, but in different countries, for instance, it's passion, it's love in France, it's passion, deep passion in Spain. When you go to China, it's associated to good fortune. It has different meaning, but never a negative one.
The exhibition we're sitting in is taking place in Palais de Porte Dorée. It was one of your big inspirations as a child.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
Well, we're sitting in this Palais de la Porte Dorée, which is on the east side of Paris, and as a child, I was living really nearby. I mean, walking distance, and I used to go to the park. So I used to go to the zoo, and I used to go to the park. The place is on the way to those two places, and my last school and my last college are just behind this museum. So I've been seeing that museum all my life in my childhood. And the first, when you're a child, it's a bit imposing. It's very, very, very big. It's very, very powerful. That building, 1931, is really quite magnificent. So almost too magnificent for a child. But one of my older sisters says, you are going to love it. Because I was too afraid to go inside. You're going to love it. You have so many fishes, so many crocodiles, etc.
Because it's an aquarium
It's
as
an
well.
aquarium, tropical aquarium. So I started to go there when I was 9 and just never left the place after that. It used to be called the Museum of the French Colony, then got debaptized and was called then after the Museum of African and Oceanic Art. So I owe to this museum the fact that I started to see different objects, different fabrics, crowds, masks, totem, a lot of really weird objects for me because they were coming from different countries.
You had an interesting childhood. You left home at an early age. You dropped out of school. You traveled a lot as a teenager. You went to Egypt and to India. Did you always have in the back of your mind that you wanted to be a shoe designer?
No, I realized that I wanted to be a shoe designer only when I was 16. I started drawing when I was 10, 11, but almost like a hobby or almost like a nervous tick. I was always resketching a shoe that I had seen in that specific museum, which was just a signal, a shadow signal, which was crossed in red, forbidden to high heels. And it's only after that, when I was 16, that I was already considered as like a little boy crazy about designing shoes, but I never thought that it was a job. And it's when I was 16 that someone gave me a book, which was a gold matte cover, and there was just a name on it that I had never heard of, and it was written Roger Vivier. And when I opened that book, I saw a beautiful, beautiful pieces of art and shoes, and by Roger Vivier. And I thought, my God, I've been sort of drawing without knowing that it was actually it was possibly a beautiful job to do.
And there are something like 500 shoes shown here at the exhibition. Tell us about a shoe then, not your favourite because it's probably impossible to choose, but a shoe that has been important to you on your journey.
Many shoes. If I start, it's complicated to stick to one. The first one has been important because the first one was making part of a different design that I call the lovebird. So lovebird, is those animals. They always live as a couple, and if one dies, the other one is not staying alive. It dies immediately after. So the lovebird shoes are two shoes that you put together, and when they're joined, suddenly the design appears in itself. So, but if you separate them, it's not same design and same design. The full design is arriving with it. And the first one is called Love. So when you join the feet, you have written love. And it's a flat shoes that I designed in '91. And it kept me in business for the first year. That's the only pair of shoes that I was selling the entire year.
You've always been a pioneer though, and we see here in one of the rooms your nudes collection. Mm-hmm. It's a simple idea, shoes that match the skin colour of lots of different people. Where did that idea come from?
The idea about the nudes being nudes with an S, meaning different nudes, is coming from a conversation that I had with someone. It was during Fashion Week, so this is like 12 years ago. And I was showing a part of the collection to buyers. And then one of my collaborators was coming back and forth, and when she was coming, she was doing like that. And then, so at the end of the meeting, I went to see her, and I said, "That's very rude. You know how you are. What is happening to you?" And she said, "Well, there are some things that I hear that I don't like." And I said, "Like what?" She said, "Well, you're showing a shoe which is beige, and you're saying flesh." And she says, "I'm sorry, but this is not flesh. This is beige. That's very different." Shandy is her name, and she's black. And I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "Well, when you show a shoe and you say it's a flesh color, it's not a flesh color. This is not the color of my flesh." So hearing that, I just had to say, I apologize because you're perfectly right. And this shoe is a beige shoe. And if I want to call it nude, it needs to be among a lot of other colors, because nude is not one color.
Everyone from Beyoncé to Katy Perry, Miley Cyrus, Melania Trump are wearing your shoes. Is there one person that you would really love to see wearing your shoes?
Yes, the Queen of England. Not necessarily because I'm a big fan of the Queen of England, but the Queen of England is a symbol. So to me, it's actually a little bit of a challenge, a nice challenge to think of a function of the person, what she is going to do. So I'm immediately thinking of the Queen of England and the Pope too.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, what do you think about the latest trainer trend? Because trainers and flat shoes have really taken over fashion at the moment, haven't they?
Well, I started trainers 12 years ago when I started to do men's shoes. After a year, we realized the shop is facing the women's shop. We realized that a lot of small sizes were gone. Loafers and sneakers were gone. We realized that most of the shoes were bought by women. Just like I have a huge selection of high heels all the way to size 44, 45, because we always had men buying high heel shoes.
Do you think movements like Me Too and feminist movements affect shoe fashions for women?
I've been asked that, and I still really don't understand the relationship.
Feminists can wear any shoes they want. That's the meaning of feminism, isn't it?
Exactly. You know, I design shoes and I never obliged anyone to wear them. So sometimes when people are asking me the fact that high heels is against women, I'm thinking, does it mean that anyone still thinks that a woman is not free of deciding for herself? I don't think that.
If Paris was a shoe, what shoe would it be?
Sadly, it would be a black shoes, I have to admit. It would be a pump. It would be probably, you know, I designed two shoes which have names of arrondissement of Paris. One is Pigalle and the other one is called Clichy. So either, it will be a round toe actually. Yeah, the Clichy pump or the Fifi.
Okay, Christian Louboutin, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Because a new page of history gets written every day. Because breaking news can't wait. Information everywhere. In all situations. On every subject. Understanding the world. Imagining the world. France 24. A different take on the news.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.
When we handle first-hand information, we have to always to be careful and to verify this information. The latest example that I had to treat was a hint that I got from a North American source regarding French children that are going to be brought back from Syria to France. It's a very touchy subject. So when I got in touch with French institutions that handle those issues, I wasn't able to get any final confirmation or official confirmation. So I was forced to retain the info, despite the fact that 24 hours after that, indeed, French children were brought back to France. And this is one of multiple examples where we are forced to retain information until it is confirmed or verified.
Liberté, égalité, actualité.